constant journey of change and transformation. We all go through periods where we question who we are and where we fit in. It's like a metamorphosis, a process of profound change within ourselves. Today, I'll be talking about the concept of identity transformation and how it can be just a natural phenomenon, like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. Have you ever felt like you were juggling different versions of yourself, depending on the social group or the situation you find yourself in? Have you ever struggled to define who you truly are because your various roles seem so distinct and contradictory? If so, you're not alone. Imagine this. You're the life of the party, the funny friend who always brings laughter to your close-knit group. Your humor is contagious, and you revel in the joy of making people laugh. But then, there's another side of you. The serious student who thrives for excellence in school, dedicating countless hours to your studies. Your focus and determination shine in the academic realm. And yet, when you're with your family, you may still feel like an immature child, always seen through the lens of your parents' expectations and memories of your younger self. And this phenomenon is not uncommon. We all experience it to some degree, and at times, it can be incredibly confusing and even distressing. We ask ourselves, who am I? Am I the funny friend, the diligent student, or the immature child? And the truth is, you're all of these things and more. You are a complex and multifaceted individual, and that's something to celebrate. When I was in 5th grade, I was part of our school's musical, High School Musical. And there's this one song that has stuck with me till today. It's called Stick to the Status Quo. For those of you who are not familiar, Stick to the Status Quo takes place after the callback list for the spring musical has been posted at East High. When the students find out that the popular hotshot basketball player Troy Bolton is included in the musical list, the entire school drifts into a chaos of paradigm shift. If Troy Bolton, the very personification of the phrase all is life, is now into musicals, what other secret passions are students harboring? Confessions started pouring in like water through a broken dam. In the cafeteria, some students began to share their secret obsessions. A basketball player who loves to make creme brulee, a scholarly nerd's passion for hip-hop dance breaking, and a hippie skater boy who plays cello in a button-down shirt. And as a result, these students face the judgment and the pressure from their peers to conform and align with only one identity. Well, you see, we might not have the crazy, unexpected, out of the blue secret obsessions like these high school musical students, but we all can agree that adolescence is an angsty, confusing, and overwhelming mess of identity formation. The song Stick to the Status Quo echoes the theme we are exploring today. The difficulty in defining one's identity when society attempts to dictate who we should be. The song Stick to the Status Quo beautifully captures the fear of judgment and the desire to break free from the fixed stereotypes. It also reminds us that revealing our true selves with all our unique passions and interests can be met with backlash from others. In the midst of navigating through multiple social roles, one's identity crisis may have another layer. The intersectionality of ethnicity and cultural identity. As growing up, I found myself caught in the crossfire of racial and cultural stereotypes society imposed on me. As a Korean individual, I felt the need to conform to certain assumptions society imposed on me. The world seemed to demand that I fit neatly into the mold of what it meant to be Korean, or conversely, a non-Korean identity. And as a young age, I found this division perplexing, and it fueled my desire to belong. Now, despite not having a profound interest in Korean music at the time, I found myself obsessing over a few K-pop stars. And this wasn't coming from a genuine interest for the music, but rather a misguided attempt to build a common ground with some of my Korean friends. I have believed that by adopting this shared interest, I could potentially fill in the perceived gap and finally feel a sense of belonging. Well, obviously, when this fake obsession didn't satisfy my need for belonging, I Ironically, this desire for connection led me to distance myself from my Korean friends. I wanted to defy the idea that we only interacted among the same nationalities, as if our relationships were genuinely purely based on shared cultural backgrounds. I detested the idea that our relationships were constrained by external backgrounds. There's one day in middle school that is still etched in my memory that further deepened my desire to belong. For those of you who have an older sibling who goes to the same school as you, you might relate to the initial recognition teachers gave you based on the times they have spent with your older sibling in the past. And this particular day unfolded like any other beginning of the school year when the teacher, presumably noticing the resemblance of sisters, approached me. He went on and said something that would last in my mind for years to come. He began to say that my sister was the most non-Korean student he had ever taught. Now, I'm sure that he didn't say this in any way of harm or stress on me, but the weight of those words hung in the air, and I found myself caught in entangled emotions of conflicting emotions. On one hand, I felt like a compliment, a subtle nod to my sister's uniqueness and her departure from shared cultural stereotypes. It became a subtle aspiration for me to also be recognized as a distinct student beyond the confines of cultural stereotypes. Yet, beneath the surface, there was also a layer of complexity. While the statement, seemingly positive and complimenting, carried the unspoken implication that straying away from our own nationalities was noteworthy. It created a tension between embracing individuality while also questioning why such departures from my own country were singled out and be perceived as special and unique. In the struggle to belong, it was a moment of realization that authenticity was the key to true belonging. I no longer wanted to lie to myself just because I was conscious of others' eyes. The perplexing emotions that accompanied my experience now catalyzed for a deeper exploration into my own identity. That one comment from the teacher was no longer a pressuring weight on my shoulders that I had to carry, but rather